Welcome back to the Broad Street Benchwarmers podcast. My name is Adam Den. Michael Cormelos is here with me. Ethan will be back with us shortly. We're going to do an NBA one soon, so he'll be back with us for that. But today is a special day because we are 2 days out from Super Bowl 56, right?
Seven.
Yeah,
We're also one day out.
we're good at this counting thing. Yeah, that's our specialty.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Philadelphia Eagles of our namesake facing off against the Kansas City Chiefs in what should be an epic battle. We are so excited. I mean, are you ready?
Oh yeah, I'm ready. One of the better Super Bowls in recent time, I think. Matchups going into the game. Probably Eagles Patriots.
Yeah. Yep. Now these teams match up incredibly, and I am so excited to talk about them and so excited to experience this. So I think we should start with our AFC champion coming off a huge win over the defending AFC champion Cincinnati Bengals. A controversial win, but a win overall. And coming into the Super Bowl 57 now, fully healthy, possibly, for the first time throughout these playoffs. What are we thinking with this Kansas City Chiefs team?
Well, there's not a single player on the injury report, so I mean that's usually a good start. Pat Mahomes won the NFL MVP like 2 nights ago with the NFL honors. I mean, talk about just a dominant player. I mean, over 5,000 yards, 41 touchdowns, led the NFL in both categories. Very, very good QB rating. He makes the impact on the ground. He had one of his better seasons rushing this season. Second most yards of his career, most touchdowns of his career. He's very smart with the football. Sometimes he gets a little airborne with that thing and just chucks it. But I don't really know how you can stop Patrick Mahomes. I'm sure you're going to tell me how you can stop Patrick Mahomes because you're an Eagles fan, but I mean, this is going to be something. It's going to be great. Isaiah Pacheco has been one of my favorite players starting out this season. I mean, he's very, very physical, very fast. He always keeps his feet moving. They never stop moving.
Yep.
And this is not working. Oh, it's postseason stats. That's why it at least says that Isaiah Pacheco has 100 yards rushing, 830 yards rushing this season. 3 big runs, 5 touchdowns, a big 5 yards per carry, which is something they really haven't had out of any of their backs, which is really, true productiveness. Although Jerry McKinnon, great receiving back as always. I think he has like 9 receiving touchdowns, which is like some of the most in NFL history.
Yeah.
And then my problem with the Chiefs is their wide receiver core because it's very weird. Travis Kelce is obviously, amazing. And I think what nobody really appreciates is that Juju Smith-Schuster had borderline comeback season, almost 1,000 yards receiving, 78 receptions, only in 16 games. So if he played that last game, probably could have hit 1,000 yards, but yeah, whatever. And then you have Marquez Valdes-Scantling, who's not the greatest player in the world, but whatever. But then it really just falls off from there. I mean, Kadarius Toney is just such a question mark. Like, what's going on?
But you have to admit, within his role in Kansas City, has been substantially more efficient than he was in New York.
I agree. I mean, still only 250 scrimmage yards all season. It's really weird. And then, I mean, Sky Moore did not turn out as what you hope to be. I mean, McCole Hardman's been on and off the injury report all season.
And he's on IR now. He will not play.
He's not playing? All right, that sucks. Justin Watson, I mean, I didn't even know anything about Justin Watson until like week 14. He's not very good. And then, there's really nothing. Nothing here. I mean, when there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 wide receivers who have caught a pass this season. That's not good. That's really not good. But I mean,
it can be. It's a credit to the distributor, right? It's a credit to our MVP. Yeah. Yep.
I mean, the running backs out of the backfield, I already touched on Jerick McKinnon catching the ball, but Isaiah Pacheco as a receiving back hasn't been bad. I mean, it was great. And obviously, the tight end game is just great. I already mentioned it, but Travis Kelce is just dominant force, one of the best all-around skill players in the NFL. It's great. Then you look at Kansas City's defense. I mean, it speaks for itself. It's very good. Linebackers are great. Nick Bolton and Willie Gay have been awesome this season. Maybe not Willie Gay, but Nick Bolton's kind of carrying the load. I mean, 180 tackles, 180 tackles, my friend.
I have my problems in coverage, but he's okay.
Coverage, but when he's blitzing or when he's on the run stop, it's great. And especially for a team that runs a lot like the Eagles, having a guy like Nick Bolton is going to be important. L'Jarius Sneed, is he healthy? I don't even know if he's healthy or not.
He is going to play. He is somewhat
huge.
healthy. He has been limited in practice throughout the week.
Well, that is huge because L'Jarius Sneed is one of the better defensive backs in the NFL, and in my opinion, one of the more underrated ones. I mean, up there in pass deflections this season with 11. I mean, he's been out of this world. I mean, Justin Reed, also safety, good pickup. He's better in Houston, but it's all right. We won't.
A lot better in Houston, but
a lot better in Houston. He's still been solid this season. Then the rest of the DB core is fine. Rashad Fenton, fine. Trent McDuffie, solid. He's all right he's pretty good. Played very well for rookie defensive back. That's really all that's notable on the defense, except Chris Jones. Just really thought I forgot. Chris Jones has been one of the most dominant defensive players we've seen in the past couple years. I mean, he's really gonna have to bring the pressure on and dominate the Eagles' interior offensive line, which has been very good this season. Yeah. The problem is on that D line, there's been nothing else. Their ends suck. And they're all terrible. George Karlaftis, this is awful. Frank Clark is like $20 million in dead cap and probably just dead space too. And I can't even name another defensive tackle on their team. I mean, we have Kalen Saunders, who I've never heard of. Maybe I should have heard of him. Maybe I'm just a casual. Derek Nadai. That's how you say his name. He is. Nadi, yes. He hasn't been relevant since and Tashawn Wharton. Those are the defensive tackles I can name right now. Carlos Dunlap, nothing like what he used to be back in the old Cincinnati days. I mean, it's really going to come down to those linebackers coming from the can they beat Philadelphia's linemen in the second level and make stops on the run? If they can't, it's going to be a long, long day for that D line and for whoever their defensive coordinator. No, that's not wrong team. Who's Kansas City's defensive coordinator?
Spagnuolo.
Yeah, yes, Spagnuolo. Chris Collinsworth loves him.
Yeah.
Him and Tony Romo.
Yeah, I know.
But other than the defensive ends and the D line in general, outside of Chris Jones, I really have no complaints about this team. They've been great this season.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, when I look at them, I think offensively, I look at Mahomes, and I really look at the development. And I think a lot has been emphasized, but maybe still not enough of his improvement from last year after that Cincinnati game, where you watch it and you've got Lou Anarumo, that Bengals defensive coordinator, absolute genius, and they're running the two high safety looks and they're forcing Mahomes to beat them over across the middle of the field, right?
It wasn't.
And he can't do it. And the Cincinnati Bengals taking home their AFC champions. It's the most, maybe one of the more bewildering playoff games over the past, decade that we've seen, because this was such a dominant Kansas City offense, such a force, and it looked like they had been completely deconstructed. So we go into this year, they lose Tyreek Hill, right?
That was really
and what is it now? Like, what do they look like? That speed off the edge, you're losing a guy probably, what are we going to say, top 5, top 3 maybe even after the season he had? Oh, my God. Maybe what?
Maybe the best.
Maybe the best, exactly. So you lose that, like, what is this offense going to look like? And the best player in the game, once again, shows he is the best player in the game by stepping up and just slowing his game down. And for him to develop, into this almost like horizontal offense, getting McKinnon involved out in the backfield, and just really emphasizing middle of the field, the way Travis Kelce has responded, the way they've used him almost as a safety magnet. They're getting the ball out faster than they ever have. And that's going to be so huge So
I
huge
think,
against the Eagles defense can bring so much pressure.
I think this year, there's been like probably the best production on the run game that the Kansas City
Yeah,
Chiefs had in a minute.
that too. Yep.
Clyde Edwards-Helaire never really panned out.
Now,
Jerick McKinnon, as great as he is as a receiving back, never really was like the guy to be the main power back. Last time I can think of Kansas City having a decent running back is Damian Williams. He had maybe 600 yards in the season. So having Isaiah Pacheco there to be your kind of core runner, having 5 yards a carry, it's a big deal for Kansas City.
yeah,
It's a big reason why they really kind of had to take a little bit of pressure off Mahomes' arm a little bit,
yeah,
and it kind of helped. The run game helps set up the pass game. Play action's been a big thing this year for Kansas City. It's been great. They've
yeah.
been a fun offense to watch.
Of course, and so much credit to the offensive line as well. Which earlier last season we were like, "Oh, is this going to work out?" Orlando Brown had a couple moments where like, "Oh, is he the guy at tackle last year? They signed him to that crazy extension. They give all that up to get him, and he's on and off. Thuney too. He's so old. He's removed from some serious injuries. The questions there.
Yeah,
Um, but for them all around just to step up, even guys like Andrew Wiley, Creed Humphrey, of course, in the middle,
yep,
absolute monster, probably the second best center in the game, besides the one we're going to talk about like 5 minutes from now.
yep.
Um, so they are loaded offensively. My questions will continue to lie on the other side of the ball.
Yep.
And I love Chris Jones. I know the media is going to do their thing and has been doing their thing all week about him, and deservedly, because 15 sacks, absolute
From the
monster,
interior.
deserves, yeah, from the interior, deserves all the praise. Probably, top two interior linemen in the league
Yep.
now.
Yeah,
Like, yeah, what?
I can't think of a better one.
Well, maybe the guy from Los Angeles, but outside of that,
Yeah.
you know.
He was injured most of the season, wasn't he?
He was.
I'm
Yeah.
talking about this season. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really think a better one, but in
Yeah.
general, it's Aaron Donald's
Yeah.
kind of good at the whole football thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, but for their secondary, it does worry me that they were kind of beaten up all year.
Oh yeah.
And you're gonna look at, they are technically 31st in yards allowed and all in all those categories. And there's going to be a lot made, and probably justifiably so, um, about the way they were kind of picked apart at the end of that Chiefs Bengals game, about the way they've kind of been picked apart over the past 2 seasons. I am a big L'Jarius Sneed guy, just like you're a big L'Jarius Sneed guy. But at the end of the day, this is such a physical, dominant group of receivers in Philadelphia. Will they be able to match up? The rookie McDuffie, I was a big fan of him coming out of the draft. So were you. This is going to be a big test because he's probably looking at Devontae Smith this week. And that is going to be, a
Matchup.
massive test. What?
I said that's a matchup to go
That's a
against
matchup.
1,200 yards as a wide receiver too.
Exactly. And such an elite route runner and all. We'll talk about him in a minute. But still, it is definitely going to be interesting. And if the Philadelphia Eagles are able to control the pace of this game, this is not going to go the way Kansas City wants. They have to manage to get them off the field. And so defensively,
You need to keep the defense on the field a while.
Huh?
You need to keep the defense on the field.
They do.
You need to
Exactly.
get Jones tired. You need to get that D line tired. If the D line's bad enough with full energy,
Yep.
and they're going to get exhausted really fast. It's not going to be good
Yep.
for Kansas City.
Yep. So I am incredibly excited to watch this Kansas City team. And I think now we transition to your NFC champions. And that will be our Philadelphia Eagles.
Philadelphia Eagles.
What?
Your Philadelphia Eagles.
My Philadelphia Eagles coming off a rather dominant, albeit some,
No, it was not
some
dominant.
asterisks possibly.
No.
Win over the San Francisco 49ers, 31-7. How are we feeling about this Philadelphia team as they glide their way into Super Bowl 57?
Great. The great. I mean, Jalen Hurts, the development just insane. From people telling me that they didn't want Jalen Hurts to play quarterback this year, maybe they should go out and draft somebody. I called them all stupid, and this is why. You know what I mean? I mean, he had a dominant season. He probably had a case for MVP before he got hurt, seeing how awful the Eagles were without him. The run game, too, with Jalen Hurts and just in general. I mean, Miles Sanders really having his finally breakout season after just not scoring a touchdown last year, 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns. I mean, there's not much you can ask. Not much more you can ask for from a running back. 5 yards a carry. I mean, it's great. I mean, the backup running backs have been great too when they need to step up. Kenneth Gainwell, big fan of him coming out of Memphis, and then Boston Scott, obviously the local legend. I think the receiving core, the wide receivers are just awesome. I mean, A.J. Brown, huge acquisition, having the best year of his career by far. And then you have Devontae Smith. People don't realize has more catches than A.J. Brown this season. And 1,200 yards as a wide receiver too. Name a better wide receiver too. Besides T. Higgins. I can't. He's so good. 7 touchdowns for him, 11 touchdowns for Brown. I think the big thing here is, does Dallas Goedert step up?
Waddle. Sorry. I said Waddle.
Well, yeah,
I got it, but still.
I think the big thing here, will Dallas Goedert step up? Will he step up at the moment? He's been a key part of that receiving core. And then how will other wide receivers respond to getting the ball? Because guess what? I said six receivers on the Chiefs have caught a pass. 5 have caught a pass for the Eagles this season. Those are A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, Zach Pascal, and I was wrong. There's only 4. That's not good, in my opinion.
Don't count out the tight ends, man.
Well, I'm not counting out the tight ends.
Tara.
Jack Stoll. But I look at that and I'm like, okay, like if Kansas City's defense can shut down A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith, who steps up? Well, now I'm sure if A.J. Brown gets shut down somehow, then Devontae Smith will be, a big factor in the game. But then is Quez Watkins going to come out and have I think the biggest thing I remember from that last time the Eagles won the Super Bowl is guys like Corey Clement stepping up. It's Corey Clement, Jay.
Give me 1 sec. That's my bad.
Can I continue?
Yeah, you're good. It's my bad.
So the biggest thing I remember from the first Eagles Super Bowl win ever was guys like Corey Clement, Jay Ajayi, and all the other backups having monster games. And let me pull up the results now. Because now obviously, the biggest backup to step up in that game was Nick Foles, but then guys, Torrey Smith. Torrey Smith was a big deal that game. Yep. 5 receptions for 50 yards doesn't sound like, all hail, the greatest player of all time, but it was great. He was an X factor. He was a difference maker that New England wasn't ready for. And I don't know if Quez Watkins is that guy. Maybe he is. I don't know. I don't like the Eagles, so I'm not very keen with my knowledge. But if it's not, is it going to be Zach Pascal? And if it's not him, then who is it? Is it Kenneth Gainwell? Does Kenneth Gainwell step in the Corey Clement moment? You know what I mean? Or Boston Scott? But then again, these are very, very, nitpicky problems to have that I just need to say so I sound like I'm not, their butts, because they're a very good team. I think the problem I actually have is the linebacker core. I don't think
we're going to talk about that.
Is very good.
We're going to debate that.
I don't think T.J. Edwards is great. I don't think Kaiser White's great. Everything else is great. Secondary is great. Defensive line's great. I mean, Fletcher Cox is going down with the better interior lineman of all time. Brandon Graham, great. Javon Hargrave, great. Josh Swag, great. Son Reddick, great. I mean, it goes on and on. Secondary, obviously, is awesome. Reed Blankenship just became like a fan favorite guy on the East Coast. Kavon Wallace, great player for Clemson. I don't really know. It didn't really pan out for him in Philadelphia, but I had to mention him because he's your favorite person. I mean, Dominic Sue, great pickup. I mean, like, there's so many guys. I mean, there's depth in case one guy gets tired, and it's not like you're losing much production. It's hard for me to pick against these Eagles. They have been great this season, and I guess you're going to go in your spiel now because I think you're a lot more educated than I am.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love pretty much everything you said there. And, 5 years ago, we kind of watched football kind of be, I don't want to say transformed by Harry Roseman, but changed a little bit by Harry Roseman in the way the Philadelphia Eagles were able to take that rookie quarterback, right? Take them and build in the trenches, that offensive line and that defensive line, and just dominate. We talk about it on this podcast so much. The ability to dominate both lines of the football being so key to being a truly dominant football team. And now, 5 years from now, to see this team do it again, that has been the narrative. But I want people to consider the skill position talent of this team versus the skill position talent of that team. AJ Brown, probably a top 10 receiver, an
AJ
absolute
run circles
monster.
around.
Yep.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Yep.
Dante Smith probably would too.
Yep. Exactly. And I mean, on the other end too, we're looking at Ronald Darby and
Mills.
What?
Jalen Mills.
Yeah, exactly. And to have, all pro team James Bradbury and Darius Slay, probably a top 10 corner in this league as well.
Mhm.
Like, they are so, so talented
Yep.
and so deep. And what I think this really comes down to is really just them being able to carry out what they've done all season, is dominating those trenches on both sides of the ball. I think, that Kansas City defensive line, we've talked about it, their interior is going to get some pressure. They are going to be able to get to the second level a little bit and stop the run. I think it's a much easier matchup than last week in San Francisco. And I think that's going to be,
That
it's just
happens when
carrying that over.
that gets hurt.
Huh?
That happens when the starting quarterback gets hurt on the
That
first
just
game.
stop it. Stop it. I'm talking about the San Francisco defense. I'm not gonna Brandon Ayuk this. But I think them controlling the pace of the game, being able to take advantage of these Kansas City corners being maybe younger and more inexperienced with, the receivers that we have. I know you're gonna do the thing about, playoff experience, blah blah blah, and I understand that. I understand that. But I think you have to consider the veterans, which we do have, who do have that experience. Lane Johnson is now 4 weeks out from that torn abductor. It seems like nothing has changed. He has
Yep.
been just as dominant as before. Jason Kelsey, now probably 10 years, maybe the best center in football. Like, he is just such a force. Brandon Graham, he's not the same player he was 5 years ago. That's fine.
Good.
But he's still really good and
Yes.
really solid in his role. There's just a lot of there's a lot of veteran leadership in it seems. And I also have faith in Sirianni. But I do think a big factor of this as well is going to be, the scheming matchup. I know Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo have that playoff experience, and are able, will come out with a great game plan against these Philadelphia Eagles. How do Sirianni and Gannon adjust? Because I feel like if you look at that stretch where Philadelphia struggled later in the season, it was because they really just came out flat in preparing for their opponent. I was at that Saints game, and
Yeah.
seeing Taysom Hill, run circles around us because we're running that deep zone and not covering the holes. Like, that can't happen on Sunday. And that Kansas City is going to try to be tricky. and play around just because that's who they are. The creativity of Andy Reid is going to show up on that field, and Eric Bieniemy is going to show up on that field. But overall, I feel good. And so much of that, like you said, is because of my quarterback.
Yeah.
And Jalen Hurts, man, I mean, I feel so grateful for this team to have a franchise quarterback who's improved so drastically over the past year after year after year. What he can do on the run, obviously. I hope his shoulder's okay. I think it will be. I think maybe a little too much is being made of the game plan last week against, such a good San Francisco secondary.
Yeah.
I think, I look for him to come out and attack on Sunday.
Yep.
And I think that is another key. And, if they really are the deepest and the most talented, I don't see why this can happen. So we will see, and I think that should lead us directly into score predictions.
Go
So
ahead.
I'll let you go first.
No, I don't want to go first.
You don't want to go first? No, I want you to go first. I want you to go
first. Okay.
I want you to go first.
I'm going to play devil here because
Good.
I just want to make you mad. I enjoy it. What I really look at, one thing I'm looking at is if it comes to a shootout, which it easily could, who's more prepared for a shootout? Is it, the team that's kind of had to run the ball slow, kind of go slow all season, get the run game going, that kind of stuff, or is it the team that's, running no huddle running a lot of no huddle offense and just running and has the best quarterback in football, maybe one of the best quarterbacks to ever touch a football at this point, even though he's only 7 years into his career. I'm gonna pick Kansas City, and I think another big thing is that I think Patrick Mahomes finally kind of has something to prove right now. He's kind of fighting for something, and he hasn't really had that ever in his career. He came out of nowhere, that 2018 season and got so close to that Super Bowl. And people were like, all right, he's good. And then he goes and wins the Super Bowl. And people are like, yeah, he's still good. And then he goes and loses the Super Bowl. And even though he loses the Super Bowl, he still looks incredible doing it. And people are like, all right, it's cool. And then last year happens. And he faces adversity. They're 3-4. And what happens from there? They go 13-4 and nearly make the Super Bowl. And I think that's big for Patrick Mahomes. But then after that, and so and then you look in the playoffs, he played great in the playoffs before that Cincinnati game, and you're like, okay, he faces adversity, and he does it well. And when he has something to prove, he does it well. He will silence the haters. And then the Cincinnati game happens, and everyone's like, what did I just watch? Whether it was that last drive where they could have had a touchdown and Mahomes fumbled, or that awful interception on the second play of overtime. It's like, wow. And then people come out and they're like, okay, well, maybe, that 3-4 Mahomes came back out. And it's like, well, what's happening? And now going into the season, people start to transition from the Kansas City hype. And it's like, okay, well, now Cincinnati's really good. And now, oh man, Buffalo, Josh Allen, that kind of thing, oh, they're great. And then, hell, there were so many people who didn't even pick Kansas City, pick win the division. Oh, but the Chargers. Oh, but the Broncos and Russell Wilson. No, I think that's a different situation to talk about later. Oh, but the Raiders, being a playoff team already, being Devontae Adams, and everybody kind of overlooked Kansas City. Miami's come in and just become a favorite now because now they have probably the best receiving core in football, the best receiving duo at least. And Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid kind of stood there in the shadows and were like, all right, just let it play out. And they let it play out, and look who's in the Super Bowl. The media tried to sell us on Buffalo, tried to sell us on Cincinnati, tried to sell us on New England because the Mac Jones hype is just awful.
You had to sneak that in there. You had to sneak a little Mac Jones
every
hater.
other team in the division. So you got Chargers, the Raiders, the Broncos. They try to sell you on the Colts with Matt Ryan, and Matt Ryan was the guy. Nobody put in the 8th team. Maybe we should just watch out for the Chiefs. Nobody did it. And what does Patrick Mahomes do? Patrick Mahomes puts up probably the best season he had since
The best season of his career.
probably the best season of his career. And if it's not the best season of his career, it's damn close to the last MVP season he had.
Yeah.
And let's be honest, he would have won MVP the year after that if he didn't get injured. This should be Patrick Mahomes' third MVP. I mean, they just did their thing, and they were dominant the whole season. I mean, like, yeah, there are a couple bad losses, a couple bad games. You know, he really shouldn't go to overtime with Houston when you're Patrick Mahomes, but that's whatever. And that reason is why I'm going to pick the Kansas City Chiefs. It's nothing against the Eagles. I mean, this is like kind of the first time where I can say that these two teams are nearly flawless. You have two amazing damn football teams coming in to play each other, and they match up well against each other. But I just think with the experience of Mahomes and with something on his shoulder, kind of trying to like prove to everybody like I'm still the guy. The 7 teams that you picked to be good, and you didn't pick me to be the 8th team. I don't even know what I'm rambling about anymore. But Pat Mahomes is just that good. Andy Reid's just that good. Steve Spagnuolo is just that good. Eric Bieniemy's just that good. I love. It's a great coaching staff. It's an amazing offense. I really think that offense. I mean, even if like the defense just falls apart, and Eagles score 40 plus points, then I think it's like okay, well, if you're going to pick any offense in the NFL, you can just put up 40 points on any week. What offense are you picking? It's Kansas City because they have the best quarterback probably to ever touch football. So that's why I'm picking Kansas City. Now tell me why you're picking Philadelphia. Oh, score. I'll just do something ridiculous. I'm going to go 40-34. I feel like it could happen.
I like that. It's very close to 41-33. So I'm going to let you in on a little secret. 2 weeks ago, I had the Kansas City Chiefs in this game. I did.
Before we said this.
I did. Yep. And my reasoning probably, not too far off from yours. Patrick Mahomes is a dominant force. He
Definitely.
is probably the most talented player I've ever been able to witness touch a football. And I grew up in the Brady era, so that's pretty insane to say.
Manning.
Yep. Yeah, and Manning. Yeah. So, for me to bet against a team with that quarterback and that coach, and what they've been able to do all season, and what they've been able to create, it would probably be pretty stupid. And, that was my reasoning. But I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it. And this Eagles team, if anyone's going to do it, it has to be them. With them being the deepest, the most talented, and their ability to just purely wreck games. You watch, teams that have been able to deconstruct this Chiefs team. It's the dominance of a defensive line. Hassan Reddick, Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham. I can go on and on and on. Like,
yeah.
They're insane. Javon Hargrave, his name I didn't even mention. Give him a bag. Yep. And the dominance of the run game still, what they were able to do. Everybody's going to do San Francisco, everybody injured. That is the starting offense versus the starting defense. They dominated the line of scrimmage on every play. And so I think with that, I think with a healthy Jalen Hurts, I think with the healthy all-in-all team, and I think they're just, deeper and better overall. And so I'm going to have to do it. I'm going to have to pick the Philadelphia Eagles to bring it home one more time. And I'm going to say 30-21. Eagles win it.
I mean, I'm not like super disagreeing with you here because I can definitely see the Eagles doing it. Part of me kind of wanted to change my pick to the Eagles as you were speaking before I made my pick. I'm not going to because that just defeats the purpose of the whole debate. So I'm going to keep my pick for the Chiefs, but I completely agree with everything you said. I mean, The Eagles have just been dominant, but I just think Pat Mahomes is a little bit more dominant. But like, if there's going to be a team that's going to beat the Kansas City in the Super Bowl, I think the Eagles have a great chance.
Yeah.
I just see the Chiefs having a great chance to beat you guys as well.
And I agree. I see it. I've talked, I've been talking to Eagles fans all week, and I think there's a feeling of confidence, of course, that wasn't there in 2017.
Oh yeah.
Because this isn't some kind of like New England Death Star dynasty.
It's
But
also Cinderella.
but I think there should be an equality in fear to an extent, just because, this is something that easily could have been that same, Death Star dynasty.
It really should be.
Yeah, it could be.
Soon, but like
Yeah.
I really feel like Kansas City has missed out a little bit on Super Bowls.
Yeah. So I think the difference still is just the talent of the team, the construction of the roster. There's going to be so many Howie Roseman stories over the next 2 days. I'm not going to be able to stand it. I got like 2 notifications for them just while we were doing this podcast. It's wild, and I'm so proud that they're here, and I think they're going to have a good shot.
I think this is also a game where you can't get mad if they lose.
I agree. We got here.
It's on both. It's on both sides. Can't get mad if they lose.
On both sides. These are 2 amazing football teams, and unless one gets blown out, which would stink, We haven't
really had many bad Super Bowls recently. Can't think of one that was like actually bad since like the Rams and the
50.
Patriots.
Yeah, I mean, I think 50 is the last one I can think of.
Well, I think the 13-3 game.
No, a lot of people want to argue that that's a bad football game, but I think it's such a defensive masterclass, man.
It's close, so it's not like
it's close, and it's not. It's bad offensive football on the Rams' part.
Yeah, but it's also terrible offensive football on the Patriots.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I love that New England.
Is astonishing.
Yeah, that's the last good McCourty year, and
yeah.
I
mean, there was Bucks Chiefs, which is 31-9.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
That one just felt that kept me feeling entertained the whole game.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
But I'll tell you why. I'll tell you exactly why. It's exactly what we just spent the past half hour talking about. It's the fear of Mahomes and the inevitability of such talented quarterback. I mean,
Hey, it was just fun.
Yeah.
At the time, seeing Antonio Brown catch a touchdown in the Super Bowl was wow. Seeing Brown catch a touchdown pass from Brady, Bucks uniform in the Super Bowl, it's like
Well, and it was so odd because we had never, we had gotten to that point and we had never seen Mahomes really limited like that ever in Todd Bowles. Now
we also never see them just get blown out.
Yeah, exactly. And the Bucks linebackers and their D line and what they were able to mix around, that's the formula now, and that's the formula that the Eagles are probably going to try to accomplish on Sunday. It's just whether Mahomes can beat them at it. Really.
I guess, seeing that Tampa Bay City that was just depressed for a decade and a half, it's never found the quarterback, never found, that true success. 2002 is very far away from 2021.
2002 is a painful year, Mike. You didn't have to bring that one up on our glorious Super Bowl Saturday.
You weren't even alive, so.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
It's fair. It is very fair.
Yep.
Yeah. That it?
I think that's it.
That's it.
I think that's it. All right. Who do we fire? We did this last time.
I don't know who we fire. I don't want to fire anybody on the Texans anymore.
Yeah.
Great. D'Amico Ryans is God.
Fire.
Can't fire Daryl.
No, probably not yet. We need a Sixer to fire. Fire Tobias Harris. There we go.
What?
Thank you guys so
Oh.
much for listening. Yes, it was horrible. It was horrible last night. It's horrible.
Oh my God, who cares? He's great every other night.
No, he's been horrible for weeks. He's
He's not.
regressed back to the same player. We will have an NBA podcast soon. We
He hasn't been. You're just wrong.
No, I'm wrong. I'm not wrong.
Yes, you
We're
are.
gonna have to debate this. This has to be another podcast.
Why? we agree on someone to fire at least.
Okay.
PJ Tucker. You tell me you hate PJ Tucker more than you hate Tobias Harris?
Yeah. Nah, probably not at the moment.
I mean, the other way around.
Yeah. There we go. All right.
There you go.
Thank you guys so much for listening. What?
Fire PJ Tucker.
Fire PJ Tucker and go Birds.